Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another edition of Necro-Mondays, where we host weekly Necromunda Battle Reports every Monday with our series, the Underhive Wars. And we are continuing on with our Sector 7 Turf War Necromunda Dominion campaign with Battle Report number 62. This is a very special shootout scenario, which is a fan favorite on this channel, and this one is fought between my two friends, Sister Serial and Lady Domina. Sister Serial is playing Precinct 13, a Palanite Enforcers gang, while Lady Domina is bringing the Killjoys of House Escher. So these two gangs will be walking down the Lonely Mile facing down against each other for a quick draw event to see exactly which gang will be the last one standing. So that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick. At the same time, we'll show you photos of the gangs as well as their rosters, so that way you can see exactly what they're taking for this one. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So the scenario for this one is called Shootout. For crews, both crews get D3 plus 1 randomly selected fighters. In this case, House Escher, the Killjoys, got 3 fighters, while Precinct 13, the Palanite Enforcers, got 2. Pretty much what ends up happening is that the fighters march towards each other 3 inches at a time, and they must take cool checks each turn. Once a gang fails 6 cool checks and breaks 6 cool checks, they go for their guns, and then after that, the fighters start shooting it out. Each fighter makes initiative tests in order for their fighters to get +1 bonus for using sidearms, no bonuses for using any other weapon, and -2 for using unwieldy weapons. Fighters that pass their initiative tests activate in the order of their initiative from highest to lowest, and then for those that fail to activate will go from lowest to highest. Those that are tied go out exactly the same time. Once the quick draw ends, it goes back to normal Necromunda rules as usual. Victories for having the late gang with the last gang standing, and for the rewards for every single enemy fighter you take out of action, you earn D6 times 5 credits. For experience, both gangs, anybody who participates in the battle report earns 1 experience point, and fighters who didn't fail a cool test prior to the quick draw also gets an experience point as well. For reputation, 1 point reputation gets earned by each of the gangs for fighting at this one, and the gang that drew second gains a number of reputation based on the difference between the cool test that they failed as well as 6. So the scenario rules are, let's go and talk about the battle plan as well as deployment real quick. And here we are. As you can see here, here's the deployment as well as the battle plan for this one. Battle plan is pretty simple because it's pretty much just the scenario rules as always. So we go to direct deployment. I do apologize. I did not get close-up shots of both gangs, so I do apologize for that one. So starting off the right-hand side with the Palanite Enforcers, we have Judge Darko. He's the judge that's on the top there. He's a Palanite Patrolman with mesh armor. He's got an armored undersuit, maul, frag grenades, as well as an Enforcer bolt gun with penetrator rounds. Right next to him down below is Judge Mason. He's another Palanite Enforcer. He's a patrolman. He's got mesh armor, a high star energy shield, a bolt pistol, blasting charges, House Van Sar Legacy, as well as the specialist skill. Now across the other side of the table, of course, are the Killjoys of House Escher. There are 3 fighters who will be participating in this scenario. On the top there, that is Marlowe. She's a juvie. She's got flak armor. She's packing a last gun as well as a stub gun and a stiletto knife. She's also got double dome rounds for a stub gun. She also has a drop rig as well as equipped with Kim Synth. In the center is Cinder. She is a ganger who's armed with flak armor. She's got a nightshade Kim thrower, a stub gun with dum-dum rounds, as well as Kim Synth. And then finally right beneath her is Kasima. She's another juvie. She's armed with flak armor. She's got a last gun as well as a stiletto knife, and she also has Kim Synth as well. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the rest of the game. So what's going to happen is we're going to play some background music from the Pocket Watch, which is a song from For a Few Dollars More, which is a very famous spaghetti western. We're going to play some music and show the different turns as the gangs advance towards each other 3 inches. You'll notice that behind each of the fighters will be dice. If they fail a cool test, we'll put a little orange die behind them to show them how many cool tests they fail. The first gang to break through 6 cool tests, so the first one hits 7 or higher, that starts the quick draw. So that being said, let the music play and let the show get started. Alright, so now we'll go directly to the quick draw. As you can see in this photo, we do have new dice behind each of the fighters. That shows you the orders of which they shoot at. So on the top there, as you can see, we have Marlowe, followed by Cosima, followed by Cinder. In fourth place, we have Judge Mason, and finally we have Judge Darko, and that is the order that they'll be going in for the shooting. So now that we got the initiative test go, we go directly to the shootout. And for the most part, it ended up being a disaster for the ladies of the Killjoys. Mainly they missed their shots. I believe it was Cinder was the one who managed to put a serious injury directly into Judge Mason, so that part's kind of crazy. The rest of the other juvies though missed their shots. So because that Judge Mason opens up with his bolt gun, managed to get rapid fire 3, puts a bullet on each one of them because they're all within 1 inch of each other. Manages to hit all 3 of them as well. He puts a serious injury on Cinder, so she's laying on the ground bleeding out. But as for Marlowe as well as Cosima, they're both perfectly fine, and they're just laying face up, and they're currently pinned. So with that shootout phase over with, you go directly to the top at turn number 1. So we go directly to the top of turn number 1. The Palanite Enforcers go first, so Sister Serial then activates Judge Darko. Judge Darko does a simple action to move up forward, so that way he's in blocking position to protect Judge Mason from being charged at because he's seriously injured. She then tries to open fire with her gun again, and she gets 3 shots off, and unfortunately though, she missed her 3 shots, so because of that, pretty much makes up her activation for this one. Sister Serial then activates Nest. Cinder gets back on her feet using a simple action to do that, and then she sends another simple action, basic action, to open fire with her Nightshade Kimthor, engulfing both Judge Darko as well as Judge Mason in a cloud of poisonous gas. Now, while she does manage to hit both those enforcers, unfortunately she fails to wound any of them, so because of that, Judge Darko is currently pinned, and Judge Mason, he is still seriously injured as well. So for the rest of the turn, both Marlowe as well as Cosima both get back on their feet again, using simple action to do that. They then do a basic action, open fire with their guns directly into Judge Mason. Now, I believe Cosima was the one that got a flesh wound off on Judge Darko, but the other shot missed completely. So because he is still pinned, now granted he is less toughness because he has a flesh wound, but he's still deadly, he can still fight, he can still cause problems. So with that, we go directly to the end phase. As you can see here, Sister Serial's Judge Mason is still seriously injured, so he is still bleeding out, while Judge Darko has just got a flesh wound on him right now at this point as well. So at the end of turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and both Sister Serial and Lady Domino roll off for priority to see which of them will be going first. And once again, the Palanite Enforcers get the initiative on this one, so Sister Serial then activates Judge Darko. He spends a simple action to get back on his feet again, and once again, he cut loose with his bolt gun directly into all 3 members of the Killjoys. And once again, he managed to hit all 3 once again. For the first one, for Marlowe, Cosima, which is the one on the bottom there, managed to hit her, doesn't wound her though, so because of that, she is currently pinned. She does, however, manage to wound Cinder, so Cinder takes a serious injury as well as a flesh wound, so she's rolled over, she's currently bleeding out. Meanwhile, on the top there, the juvie, he manages to wound her both times as well, manages to cause flesh wounds on both of her, but she's still pinned right now, she's not seriously injured. Now, granted, she's got 2 less toughness, but she can still fight, still cause problems. And just to illustrate that, as you can see in this photo here, she managed to get back on her feet again. She activates Marlowe. Marlowe jumps up to her feet again and opens fire with her stub gun with dum-dum rounds. Manages to hit Judge Mason again, but she fails to wound Judge Mason because that Judge Mason is only pinned. And at the same time, to make matters worse, she rolled an ammo check on that one, so because of that, she will have to spend a simple action next turn in order to reload her stub gun. So with that, we go directly to the end phase, and I forgot to mention this. I forgot to take the photo of this too, but this is a combination of the last of the turn as well as the end phase. Cosima does simple action to get back on her feet again. She opens up with her stub gun, manages to put another flesh wound on Judge Mason, so that part's kind of neat. And when we get to the end phase, of course, both Judge Mason, he has still got a serious injury on him, and same thing with Cinder, she's got a serious injury on her as well, so they're perfectly fine. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3, and both Lady Domino and Sister Serial roll off for priority to see which of them will be going first. So with that, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Escher this time, so Lady Domino gets the initiative on this one. So she activates Marlowe. Marlowe charges directly to Judge Mason and finishes him off with a coup de grace, putting a spinal injury directly on him. So because of that, he goes into recovery, and Judge Mason also loses 1 to his strength as well, which is pretty rough. Obviously, Marlowe then finishes him off and then follows through directly into Judge Darko. Sister Serial then activates Judge Darko, gets back on his feet again to fight against Marlowe. Unfortunately for her, though, she misses her attack. So because that, Judge Darko does nothing against Marlowe because he flubbed his rolls for his attacks. Lady Dama then sends in Cosima, who charges directly into Judge Darko, and unfortunately for Cosima, she also flubs her attack rolls too with her weapon skills. So because of that, Judge Mason is perfectly fine. Now, granted, he's stuck in a pinch attack with these two Killjoys, but at the same time though, he's not dead yet, so that part's pretty amazing. So with that, we go directly to the end phase, and for the recovery roll for Cinder, Cinder is still seriously injured, so she's laying on the ground bleeding out for the most part with a flesh wound. Judge Darko right now is completely in a pincer attack between two different Killjoys being attacked at the same time, so things are not looking very good right now for the Palanite Enforcers. So with that, that brings us directly to the next turn. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Palanite Enforcers. So Cicero goes next. She activates Judge Darko, and Judge Darko does a basic action in order to escape and to retreat. So as you can see that he pulls out and goes directly to the top of the little walkway there. Now, obviously, Sister, my friend Lady Dominic gets reactionary attacks as long as she passes her initiative test. When she rolls for initiative test, she rolls 2 1s for both of her juvies. So because of that, they don't strike Judge Darko as Judge Darko slips right through their grasp and goes directly to the back. So that's his very first basic action. For his next basic action, Sister Cyril then decides to have him chuck a frag grenade at the dead space right between the two juvies, as you can see right there. The grenade hits and explodes and catches both those juvies in a huge gulf of flame between the two of them. Not only does it manage to hit both those juvies and also wound them as well. When Sister Cyril rolled for the injuries, she rolled 2 out of actual results for both Cosima as well as for Marlowe. And when she rolled for both of them, she rolled 66 for Marlowe, and then she rolled another 66 for Cosima as well. So just like that, both those Jews get blown up by a frag grenade and both suffer memorable deaths. My favorite friend, Lady Donna, she lost 2 juvies in her gang just in one fell swoop. And you can imagine too, it'd be very cinematically really cool with like this cops fighting both of these guys, both of these ladies, this judge, and then all of a sudden he just kind of slips through and runs away. And those juvies are trying to figure out what happens. They look down, there's a grenade laying right there, and then boom, blows up and kills them both at the same time. So both those ladies get deleted from the rosters, and at the same time, Judge Darko also earns 2 bonus experience points for killing both of those Jews. So that part's kind of crazy. So with that, we go directly to the end phase, and unfortunately, Domina Cinder is still seriously injured, so she's just laying on the ground bleeding out for the most part. And in the top of turn number 5, the Palanite Enforcers get to go next. Sister Cyril charges Judge Darko into Cinder and finishes off with a coup de grace, getting her out of action with an out cold result. And just like that, the very last of the Killjoys are put out of action. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That takes us directly to the end of the game with the Palanite Enforcers managing to get the win on this one. So the Lonely Mile is now exactly what it is, an empty road with a lone judge patrolman standing there in the middle of the wastes. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the post game because this game is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so now it's time for the post game. So first of all, starting off for the Killjoys. They suffered 3 injuries on this one. Cinder suffered an out cold result, so she makes a full recovery no problem. However, Marlowe and Cosimo are both killed, and they both suffer memorable deaths. For advancements, nobody advances at this time, and for their territories, from their settlement, they earn 1 point reputation as well as 60 credits. They still keep their synth still, and for their tech bazaar, they lost that territory to Precinct 13. In the trading post, they managed to score 30 credits from the scenario as well as 60 credits from their territories, and when combined with the 146 credits they had in their stash, gave a grand total of 236 credits. With those 236 credits, they recruit a new Chimerics called Claws for Eyes is the name of the character. She's got scaly skin as well, so because of that, they have another Chimerics in the gang as well. She then took her 4 remaining credits and she placed it directly into her stash as well. For the reputation, they earn 1 point of reputation from this territory as well as 1 point of reputation from the scenario, giving the Killjoys a grand total of 36 in total. Their new record now is at 4 wins as well as 7 losses, and their new gang rating now is at 2,046 points. And lastly, we have the Palanite Enforcers of Precinct 13. For the injuries, Judge Mason was the only one to suffer an injury. He has -1 to his strength because he suffered a spinal injury and he goes directly into recovery. For advancements, Judge Darko actually earned quite a bit of experience on this one, earning 7 points of experience in total. He levels up to level 5, earning +1 to his toughness. Now Judge Darko is toughness 5, so he's extremely hard to kill. From their territories, from the Palanite Precinct, they earn 1 point of reputation as well as 60 credits. From their wastes, drinking hole, as well as corpse farm, they don't get anything for those because they've already policed those up. However, they did manage to capture a tech bazaar from the Killjoys, and through policing actions, they managed to score 3 reputation points from policing it up as well. In the trading post, they get 65 credits from the scenario as well as 60 credits from their precinct, giving them a grand total of 125 credits. With those 125 credits, they recruited a new subjugated patrolman named Judge Torrance. Judge Torrance, of course, is armed with layered flak armor as well as an armored undersuit. He's got a stub gun. They also equipped him with an assault shield as well as dum-dum rounds with the rest of their credits as well. Now from the reputation, they get 4 points of reputation from their territories as well as 7 points of reputation from the scenario because they failed no cool tests whatsoever. That brings their grand total up to 54 points of reputation in total. Their new gang record now is at 7 wins as well as 4 losses, and the new gang rating now is at 2,565 points. So that's good to do for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.